Meu nome é Cairo Santos e eu sou kicker e único brasileiro jogando na NFL. Cada chute, cada jarda conquistada, cada passo me levou para mais perto dos meus sonhos. Agora, a cada R$200 em compras com seu Visa cadastrado, você tem a chance de ficar mais perto do sonho de assistir ao Super Bowl 59. E usando o seu cartão de débito, você ainda concorre a prêmios diários de até R$1.000. Não importa o tamanho do seu sonho, dê o primeiro passo. Visa, apoiando seus passos aonde você quiser chegar.
Everything you learned in history class was a lie. Well, maybe not everything, but they skipped the best parts. Introducing Stupiracy, where stupidity meets conspiracy. Ever heard of the Olympic marathon that nearly killed its runners? Or the time a pope put another pope's corpse on trial? Join me, Scott Rizzuto, and Tim McKernan as we uncover the most outrageous historical moments and mind-blowing conspiracies you won't believe actually happened. Tune into Stupiracy for your weekly dose of historical absurdity. Available wherever you get your podcasts. Remember, history is dumb, but laughing at it is smart.
Zoom video conferencing.
And now, live from the TCL broadcast studios, it's Joe Souchere and Patrick Royce with Sports Talk.
14 minutes.
I think that's the Twins' third game in the last week or 7 or 8 days under 2.5. What was it, 214?
Yep, so those games are out there to be had.
They are. Barrios was sailing. The Whiteys got behind, so they, there wasn't a lot of stepping out and doing stuff like that, and appeals and visits and everything. Barrios was going, and the Twins, when they scored their runs, it was kind of boom, 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 boom. It wasn't a guy gets a walk, and then another guy gets a bloop single, and then we visit the mound. And it was the rallies were kind of quick, including Rosario's 3-run homer. Rosario now has the most home runs in June in baseball with 5, and Eddie Escobar's second with 4.
Isn't that something?
Yeah, Eddie Escobar might be an all-star. That guy's playing great, man. But you know what? This shows you what baseball has: immediate redemption. Mm-hmm. The other sports don't get, because they were god-awful last night, including the manager. But they screwed up everything they touched last night. Mm-hmm. Everything. They managed to get 3 doubles and score 1 run in an inning.
That can't be done.
3 doubles.
That can't be done.
That happened. 3 doubles, 1 run. Because Mitch Garver saw the guy running with his back to him in center field, had no chance to catch the ball. He was on second, and he ended up on third. And the ball was banging around off the center field fence.
Ooh.
So he tagged up like he thought the ball was going to be caught. It only got to third base, and they messed up that whole rally. And then they shifted themselves out of a double play that could have got Orizzi out of that inning. Ground ball right to the shortstop, but the shortstop wasn't standing there. And then Presley threw one of the dumbest pitches, a couple of the dumbest pitches ever, and they just played terrible. And then Garver. And then they come back today and get some early runs. Nice crisp ball game. Barrios terrific. Barrios had that 3-game blip there in the middle, but beyond that, he's been dang good. And boy, he was good today. And you'll like the fact Molly let him finish.
I do like
about
that.
110 pitches.
I like that.
Didn't hook him after 8. Let him finish.
Let him finish. The Angels any good?
Oh, yeah, they're really good.
Mm-hmm.
Although they haven't really played up to their standards. But Ohtani, I think, left the game last night with a blister or something. So he might not. He's here this weekend, but he might not even be able to hit because he did something. I don't know. He started the game, and then he's been having blister problems, the Japanese super duper hitter, pitcher combo guy. He'll probably be able to hit in a couple of days. But, yeah, they're pretty good.
They won't face him in the rotation, though.
No, he's not going to pitch.
No.
But they have the best player in baseball, Mike Trout. So that's good. And when Ohtani's playing, but they're behind both Seattle and Houston in that division. That division's pretty dang good. Seattle's having a good year, even though they've had some injuries, and they got Cano suspended.
I want the Cup to end tonight.
I do too. Not because I think that there shouldn't be any more hockey, which is what I think, but I just like to see Washington win. I want Ovi to win. I want to see how goofy Ovi. Did you see the story yesterday about, I read it, Ovi's meal, his pregame meal?
No.
There's an Italian.
Like pierogies or.
No, there's an Italian joint in Washington, or out near their practice facility in Bethesda or someplace. And when he came in 2005, this Italian restaurant brought in the post-skate meal every day. There was lunch, right?
Right.
Big red sauce stuff. And,
Oh, yeah,
and he
beautiful.
loved their chicken parm, right?
Okay.
So through the years, the healthy eaters
Yeah.
have basically defeated that as the post-game meal. It's not the post-game meal anymore. They get it from other places. But
They're eating kale.
there
and-
were still orders from this restaurant that would be delivered every day. And they were down to about 4, then 3, and now they're down to 1.
Ovi.
Ovi. 2 loaves of bread the size of your fist. Big red sauce, spaghetti sauce, big slab of chicken parm.
Oh, man.
They bring it in like 4 big vats, and the rest of them are sitting around eating,
Yeah, kale
whatever,
chips,
seaweed,
whatever, yeah.
And Ovi sits down and eats the damn thing.
Puts a big beach towel around him.
Takes that tooth out, like that retainer out.
Yeah, Ovi's still into the carb loading while everybody else is worried about it. So
Now, he's been with the team since 05.
05, yeah. He's
So 13
never
years.
played anywhere. 14 seasons. Well, wait, there was a lockout. And when was the lockout? Yeah, the fall of 05. The lockout was 04, 05. So yeah, he's been there 14 seasons.
And it's the first finals in the franchise history.
Did they make it? Yeah, okay. I thought they made it once.
Not to mention his first finals.
Yes, I guess it is. Yeah, they've been in business. What? They've been in business 30 years or something, right?
I think they came there in 90.
Capitals?
Look it up. When did the Capitals begin play? I think 91.
Could be. It's been a very successful franchise. They've drawn well.
Well, okay, wait a minute now. So the original, they were
you just
founded
don't
in
have to
74.
talk while you look it up. What is
They
it?
were out in
They were founded in 74 as an expansion franchise.
Yeah, they've been there a long
74.
time. Yeah,
And they made the Cup Finals in 98, Manny Hill.
yeah.
Swept
I
by the
was
Wings.
thinking they made the Cup Finals.
Thank you, Manny.
74? They've been around that long?
Yeah.
They were early, but they played out in Maryland for years. Now they play downtown. Have been downtown for quite a while. They play in the same arena as the basketball team,
Right.
the Verizon Center, not far from the White House.
And did you
10
see the
blocks,
crowd
maybe.
they had outside? What's this?
Did they?
This is the newest trend in sports
Oh, you
now.
gotta go outside
You
and
got to
stand
stand
there.
outside the building.
Yeah, what fun is that?
They'll be doing it in Vegas.
Oh, hell yes, they're doing it. Yesterday they had their usual packed-in crowd at their practice, out at their practice facility in Summerlin.
Well, see, you don't have to go to the Google for anything when it comes to the Vegas. I know this is their first year.
Yes,
This is their first finals.
yes, you know all these
I know.
things.
I know all that.
And we probably won't see him in the finals for another 15 years.
You never know.
You get the run, man, and you better take advantage because it's a long journey from that. The trouble is, you can get beat in the first round. You can be the best. That sport, if you're the best team in the NBA, you can't lose in the first 2 rounds. It's impossible. NHL, you can lose anytime, any place, any round of the playoffs. That's the difference.
I'm getting a text that says there's a great photo of what's his name?
Ovechkin.
Ovechkin on the internet with a T-shirt that says "Never Kneel." Imagine that from a commie. The texter writes.
Well, I told you. I think Putin's coming to the victory party.
Oh, God.
He's
Wouldn't
a
that
big
be
Putin
something?
fan. Yeah, he's a big Putin fan.
Oh, he is not.
I think he and him have had photos together and stuff like that. He's not. I think he's apolitical.
Does Ovechkin return to the Soviets in the summer?
He was going to, his original plan was when they were going to boycott, when the NHL wasn't going to go to the Olympics,
Yeah.
he said, I'm going. I want a gold medal. And then they finally said, well, if you do that, you don't get paid
Yeah.
for a month. And he said, well, in that case,
Never
I guess I'll
Yeah,
stay.
I'm good.
Say, yeah, I'm good.
I'm good there,
I'll
yeah.
take that.
I wonder if he has kept a home in Moscow or wherever
I
the
don't
hell
know
he's
where the hell. Probably on some resort someplace. I don't know. But he's very He's very connected to Mother Russia. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So.
Well, then, you know what? Go Golden Knights.
No, who cares?
I'm going with the Knights.
Put 'em on the cup.
That means I got to go 7 now. It can't end tonight. It's got to go 7.
Hey, their 2 best players are a couple of Ruskies.
That's true.
Hey, that Kuznetsov, however.
It sounds like the cast of what was the
Kuznetsov, whatever his name is. We had a big shot Ruski with that name. He was the number 2 guy.
You keep trying to sell me this idea.
Yeah, he was a big guy. He was like maybe the UN guy or something. But years ago, they had a guy with that name that was.
It sounds like
big.
the cast from Hogan's Heroes have these guys.
Well, except those were Germans, but same difference.
Well, same kind.
They're all a bunch
close
of
enough.
all
close
a bunch
enough.
of Slavs.
Say, I was convinced that the lawnmower that went into your pool was a riding.
No,
mower.
it was not a riding mower.
Yeah.
No, that would have. Then we would have had to worry about the young man drowning. But it damaged the liner. I'm sad to report, so it's got to be replaced.
That's
so.
another couple of grand.
Well,
Did it get oil
I
and
don't know
gas
what
in
it's
the
gonna
water?
It got a lot of debris, but the water's just sitting there now, waiting for the liner in about 3 weeks.
All right, just a moment.
Okay, here's the deal. Brian Colangelo had to resign as president of the 76ers. A big controversy last week about the tweets, Joe. You remember that.
He was fake tweeting.
And, there was burner accounts, as we call them. Well, it turned out the burner accounts that had the most offensive material came from accounts set up by his wife, Barbara Bottini. Mm-hmm. But he got fired anyway, or run out anyway, because there was stuff in there that they thought Colangelo had to tell Barbara. But Barbara got her husband fired, and he's basically hanging her out to dry here. So here's my
It's gonna be a tough anniversary.
here's my lesson for
stop.
today.
Set it up better. What were they doing with these tweets?
They were defending him, but she was also ripping some of the players for various conduct. She was ripping the guy who used to be the general manager, ripping the guy who used to work for him who was in Toronto.
This was huge.
Talking about
news.
injuries. Yeah, this is all ESPN talk. The Morning
yeah.
Show did 3.5 hours, didn't they?
Big deal last
Big
week.
deal.
Yeah.
But it raised a question to me, Joe.
Mm-hmm.
This was probably the worst thing that Colangelo's wife here has ever done to him.
I
would
but
say.
wouldn't you think that he was aware of what she was doing?
He says he wasn't.
No,
Whether
BS.
he doesn't.
Yeah.
Whether it's BS or not. My question is for the group here is, what's the worst thing your wife has ever done to you? You start.
Joe goes first. What do you got?
Okay.
What do you got?
First.
She put an ad in the paper.
That's fun. That's
right, yeah.
that's playful love.
No, it wasn't.
She was flirting with
No,
you.
she wasn't.
Yes.
No, she would put an ad in the paper that says, for sale, boats, motorcycle, cars, everything must go. Phone started ringing at 5 a.m. It didn't stop till midnight.
Yeah.
Okay, rookie,
that's
you're up.
pretty good. Yeah, what's yours?
She cooked a meal and it was burnt. It was meatless, and I came in and said, from now on, there has to be meat at every meal. And you know what? She's never let me forget
Really?
it. She cooked a meatless meal, and I said, "Hang on, what do you got here? She said, "Well, we're just having this," and I'm like. You got to have meat at every meal.
I knew it would be food.
It's got to be worse than
So
that.
the
man.
worst thing she ever did was try to
No,
serve you a meal without meat.
But it wasn't.
40 kids.
Yes, but
what is it?
But that's not it. It's the fact that every meal now has had meat, and she reminds me every time. You know, there's meat in this meal. There's almost every meal she
Remind you.
Yeah, and because she stretched it out. That's the mean part. She won't let it go.
Did she blame you for the 2-year-old drinking the tiki fluid or not?
No, because I was at work. So otherwise, hell yes, I would have been blamed for that.
Kenny, you're up.
I can't think of anything really, really bad.
Come on, you're at first down.
I almost left her in Cincinnati once on a road trip. I was so angry with her, and I had a plane ticket in my pocket, and I have no idea why I stayed with her.
You can't even remember what it was.
Another time,
what set you off, sir?
Well, it was 2 a.m, and we were looking for her sister's house, and she had directions: turn by the Perkins, turn by the brown van, turn by this. And I was so angry, and we'd been driving since the Atlantic Ocean that day that I almost just got out of the car and walked away. The other one was we had broken up prior to getting married, and one of my favorite bands was playing at the Caboose where she worked, and she sent me, I don't know how she communicated with me, but she said, you probably should come see this band. They're your favorite band. And of course, we both ended up getting drunk and getting back together. And,
You know what music does to people?
and we're still together.
You know what? You know what I'm hearing? So far,
Nobody's
nobody's
got
come
real
even
issues.
close to having somebody do something that would cost them their job. You're up.
She's fantastic. I've got no major complaints.
You're up, Patrick.
Well,
Yeah. Where do you start?
I'll
pay $100.
her
Say it, Patrick, because I refrain myself from using it.
her
Mine listens. Yours
her
doesn't.
concentration level, phoretic, drives me crazy at all times.
All right.
She's
Too concentrated or
no.
not?
She just lets bleep float. You know, she doesn't. And then she gets very upset at my impatience when I want to see stuff taken care of.
Right. You're not a
That's
good
what
waiter.
drives me crazy.
You're not a good waiter.
And here's the other thing. I'm 72 years old.
Here we go.
I got 2 jobs.
Yep.
And she'll say in the morning, hey, we have to get somebody over here to do this. Can you call?
Yeah.
And I'll say,
Let me tell you.
I say, usually I'll say,
Easy now, Pat.
maybe,
Let's break it down.
Usually I'll say, maybe you could fit it into your hectic schedule.
Yeah. Probably doesn't help.
Wow.
Probably doesn't help.
You've seen all the Kardashian crap there is to see. Maybe you could just slip her in there today.
You say,
Give me a phone call.
Yeah, right. I
Rose,
guess that's it.
Rose, I'm going to leave you the number, Rose.
Well, if you're not going to use the line, Patrick, I'm going to use it. I retract my previous, and the worst thing she has done to me is said, I do.
Why didn't any of us think of that?
Well, we did off the air,
You
but
know,
we chickened out.
I think right from the beginning. Well, by the way, I told her in '88, I said, I don't have time to look for a house. Just go find something. If you want to buy it, fine. I'm not sure I saw the house,
Okay.
but she bought one with a pool. That's what she did. I guess that's the worst
That's
thing
the worst thing she
to
ever
me.
did.
30
Yes,
years later,
that
there's
trumps
a
it.
lawnmower in it.
That trumps her
I
land.
got to get
Wait,
back.
what?
I got to get back to Colangelo.
Yes.
Did the wife think she was doing him favors by
think
making
she
him
would-
look better in his
I guess
performance
she thought
job
she-
than he was?
Yes, because she did not know that this outfit called The Ringer, which is one of those websites, had been in a feud with him. One of their guys had been in a feud with him, and the guess is that this Sam Hinkie, the guy that he replaced, was a buddy of these bloggers, and he said, "Hey, check out these Twitter accounts. They look like they all come from Colangelo." And she had no idea that she was setting them up for this big fall. You didn't hear about the lawnmower in the pool yesterday, huh?
No, how'd that happen?
Well, a young man was mowing the lawn and he ran into a bush and kind of out there in the back, and he
A little unsteady.
momentarily lost control of the lawnmower and went in the pool.
One of these big ones that they stand up on.
That you ride on, but you
Well,
stand?
it was a
Stand
big
in the
one.
back of
I'm
it.
not sure he was standing. I don't know what he was doing because by the time I'd got there, it was removed. But
Well, how in the hell did they get it out?
I think 3 or 4 guys came and they just lifted it. But
And now, what about all the gas and oil in your pool?
Well, that doesn't make any difference because we have to replace the liner and put new water in it anyway. So,
Oh my God!
yeah.
Wow!
Well, that's another thing that irritates me.
Wow!
Then
I
this is
call
the
up.
last one.
This is it.
Yeah.
I call up on the way home. I said, "Hey, I'm stopping at Barley's. Do you need anything?" I said this yesterday. And she said, "No, but we have a potential disaster at home." And I said, "What?" And she said,
I can't tell you now.
I'll tell you when you get home. I said,
now.
You used the disaster word. I need it now.
Yes.
You don't float that one.
I can't wait. Hell, we could have terrorists in the neighborhood.
Sports talk.
70s Liberation Army could be next door.
Before you break for Bruce Vail, just wouldn't it be fun if that same kid came by and he was now the pool boy to replace your liner?
Sports Talk will return shortly, but now thanks to our friends in Owatonna, Minnesota at Federated Insurance. It's Bruce Vail from the Wall Street Journal and Your Money Now.
But the good news is you don't have to skim for leaves for a couple of days.
Right.
So you got that going for you. Stocks were mixed at today's market close. The Dow Jones Industrial Average moved higher. The NASDAQ Composite came down off a record high. The Dow gained 95 points, closing at 25,241. The NASDAQ fell 54 points, and the S&P 500 slipped 2 points. Google said it won't allow its artificial intelligence products to be used in military weapons as it tries to balance its "don't be evil" mantra with the wide-ranging applications of its technology. The company recently faced criticism from its own employees for supplying image recognition technology to the Defense Department. A Wisconsin bicycle company settled a lawsuit filed by the family of the late Saturday Night Live comedian Chris Farley. At issue was the move by Trek Bicycle to put the name Farley on its fat-tired bikes. The terms of the agreement were confidential, but Trek will be allowed to keep making those bikes. The lawsuit claimed that Trek misappropriated Farley's name and traded on his Fat Guy brand of comedy with its fat tires. I'm Bruce Vail with Your Money Now on 1500 ESPN.
Okay, thank you, Bruce. We will cut you loose and check traffic here. We're going to go over to St. Paul, where we had a potential disaster, but everything's okay now. This one's sponsored by UPSJobs.com. You'd think that a lady walking up the shoulder of northbound 35E in a pair of jeans and a bra would be able to successfully get a ride hitchhiking, but she went all the way from the Cayuga all the way up past Maryland. Nobody gave her a ride. Trooper finally came along and tossed her in the back. I believe she might be on her way to the tank. She had
Trooper was ready to give it a go?
She had a little bit of a stumble there, so I think she's on there.
John Height in the newsroom.
Thank you, Joe. Partly sunny and 78 degrees. Twins with a 7-2 win over the White Sox this afternoon. Jose Barrios gets the complete game, 9 innings, 6 hits, 2 earned runs, 10 strikeouts. The Twins got home runs from, Eduardo Escobar in the first inning, a 2-run shot. Ehire Adrianza had a solo shot. Eddie Rosario had a 3-run homer. I did see it. I apologize. I don't remember which of the baseball writers posted this on Twitter, but Eddie Rosario leads the majors in home runs in June with 5.
Yes.
And Eddie Escobar is second in the majors in home runs in June with 4. So the two Eddies.
They might both be all-stars.
Well,
Escobar's playing that good.
Was it you that did the piece on the Lakers plane going down?
Yes.
Who was the sports writer who almost got on the plane but didn't?
Oh, I can't remember.
Wait, you did the piece that spurned that TV piece?
No. Well, I did a piece on just how basketball around here has been jinxed since they put it in a cornfield.
Oh.
But no, I did a piece years ago on the thing, but
It's Channel 5 I think it was Channel 5.
That guy's been out, that Gifford that wrote a book on it has been, he was a co-pilot. He's been out doing appearances. So.
I see.
Mm-hmm. He was the co-pilot.
So, fellas, let's say you're driving up northbound 35E on a day just like today, and you encounter on the shoulder, walking northbound, a lady a fetching lady in blue jeans and a bra.
Mm-hmm.
But
that's it?
But very obviously has her stumble on, and she's hitchhiking.
Okay.
Do you pull over and render assistance?
Because you're going into the no-go zone there on the Matrix.
Give me a rating on the fetching. Would you say fetching?
I would say fetching, but I would say the intoxication complete.
Okay,
complete.
Okay, well then
you might stop just to get her off the road so she doesn't die.
I did see one.
I can get you to Byerly. That's about it. Then I got to go home
home for a major disaster. So I'm going to pick up some Diet Coke, but you're going to stumble through this parking lot on your own, okay?
I hope somebody got her off the freeway, Kenny.
The patrol did. They finally made it. But it was fun listening to everybody respond to that on the two-way radio.
Youngish
Was she
gal,
doing the
older?
walk of shame home?
No, it wasn't a walk of. It was more of a dance of shame. She was partying.
I forgot to tell you this, Kenny. I was over at the U at 7:15 the other morning. I was going to interview a guy real early. Three different gals walking home with the guy, giving him the kiss on the corner and going back and hoping nobody was looking. You know? They look like they were from Dodge Center and Beltrami and something. They look like rural girls.
Yeah, that's what college is for. Come on.
They're getting their party on.
No, they were very attractive young ladies.
Here's John Hyde.
Plus, I can get you a Byerly's T-shirt. I know some of the guys that work there.
News
We gotta
notes.
cover you up.
Yeah, we got her here.
News notes from today. The Minneapolis Police Department this afternoon held a press conference, says it will stop arresting people on low-level marijuana charges in the wake of sting operations that resulted in what they called a disproportionate arrest of black people. Police Chief Madaria Arredondo announced the new policy at the direction of Mayor Jacob Fry. It follows a report by Hennepin County Public Defender's Office that 46 of 47 people arrested in the sting operations from January 24th to May 24th were black. The public defenders say almost all the cases. The public defenders say almost all the cases involved the sale of 1 to 2 grams of marijuana for $10 to $20. Arredondo said at a news conference that police were trying to reduce downtown crime, but their efforts had unintended consequences. He says the new policy applies to the entire city.
So, Johnny, I got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
Do you think the popularity of marijuana in this country can be traced to the California hippie world, or does it go back to the blues guys who used to play the piano in
We was
the 30s?
on our way over north smoking weed. You know how we do.
Well, I'm sure.
You think the brothers?
You
think
mean
the
like the
brothers
Red
love
Maddox that were playing some jazz? Okay.
I'm wondering.
I
Did the
think
brothers love the weed before the white guys? Is what I'm saying.
I wouldn't say that. I would say it traces back to life sucks, weed helps. I think that's it right there.
It crosses all racial bounds.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, and the thing.
I'm already on probation, you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to get my life right.
Yeah.
Well, I think it started probably the way you said, Patrick, but once the 60s hit and it became, normal for, the white population to do it, then boom. Yeah.
I tried a couple of times. Can't get it. Couldn't digest it.
You weren't trying hard enough. There's no dedication.
No dedication.
Well, you can't smoke a cigarette.
No, I know.
Much less hold that stuff.
Yeah, I know. It was very disappointing.
And although he didn't have a pool in his backyard, when Grandpa Red hired his own grandson to do his own lawn mowing, he was very careful to, Steve, cut all this stuff and these weeds, but I'll take care of this garden over here. This is my garden right here. Growing his own in the backyard.
You're smart, saving money.
Right.
Alice Marie Johnson.
25 yards from Homecroft Elementary School.
A yard full of ditchweed.
Which is exactly what it was. Just awful stuff.
I used to load up the trunk of my 1954 Ford Sunliner with ditchweed, and boy, that stuff would choke you to death.
One time I was in the early 80s, I was down trout fishing in southeastern Minnesota, and that stuff grows to be the size of redwoods down there. And we're walking through a pasture, and I decided, I'm taking this one home. And you couldn't pull it out of the ground. The root structure was, and finally we hacked it down with a knife, and I threw it in the back of my 65 Chevy, the whole plant, and forgot all about it. And 2 weeks later, when I remembered, it was all gross and dried out. Yeah, we gave it a shot, but it didn't last.
It just
long.
wasn't there.
Yeah.
Alice Marie Johnson, the woman whose sentence President Trump commuted, said today she's, quote, just so thankful for the president. He said, thank you, President Trump, for really seeing me, not just looking at some data about my crime, but looking at the person who I've become now and have faith that I've deserved a second chance in life. Johnson was a first-time nonviolent drug offender who had already served 21 years of a life sentence after she was convicted on charges of conspiracy to possess cocaine and attempted possession of cocaine. Trump commuted Johnson's sentence a week after Kim Kardashian West pleaded her case during that Oval Office meeting with Trump. Trump wished Johnson good luck in a Thursday morning tweet in which he told her to have a wonderful life. A Minnesota cow has given birth to quadruplets.
Oh, man.
On May 24th.
I didn't know they could do that.
That poor gal.
The odds, 1 in 700,000.
Wow.
And the odds of them all four staying alive, 1 in 11.2 million.
Are they still alive?
$100. She doesn't let a bull next to her in the rest of her life.
Do they all have normal features?
So far, yep. They were born May 24th to Chuck and Deb Beldo of, is it Sabika?
Sabika.
Yes.
Sabika, Minnesota. The cow that gave birth had been a mom before, but the first 2 times she gave birth, it was just single calves. The 2 new male calves and 2 new female calves, they've been bottle feeding the calves every 4 hours. Family posted pictures of the new calves on Facebook. Of course, it went viral.
I didn't even know they had twins.
Yeah.
Owner said the calves are all doing very well. The Beldos say that they recently had bottle holders installed, so they won't have to feed the calves by hand anymore.
They could be some very tender young meat there.
What do you call that? Veal?
Veal?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they could be.
I like a nice veal.
You don't want to give them any sunlight. You want to keep them all tied up and just feed them milk, and then
Wow.
Go out
You
there
are ready.
Go out there one night with a ball peen hammer.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Put it down.
No.
My ex-wife made the best veal of all time, and then 60 Minutes had a show on
Yeah.
how they were treated.
Yeah.
She would never make it again.
Right, that's
Damn.
Well, she
60
had, you know what? She had
Stupid
heart.
media.
She had sensitivity.
Yes, she did.
That's the old, the B.B. King story, right? He became a vegetarian last 30 years of his life. He said he was on tour, in the tour bus, sitting in the front seat talking to the driver. He started driving right up to a chicken truck, and one of the chickens looked at him right in the eye. He said after that he couldn't eat meat again.
What? That's chicken?
That's what he said.
Oh,
Did he say it in the
BB.
song or what?
A lousy chicken.
Was he into the ditch weeds?
He might have
sure he
been
was.
smoking
Hell
a
yes.
little in the front of the
Sure
bus.
he was, yeah. That's, I don't know, man.
And
Hey, Judd had a great rant this morning on an old issue that we've discussed here on your show and Sports Talk. Judd.
Okay.
On Molly showed up late today. Molitor showed up right before the game because he had to go to his son's middle school graduation.
They shouldn't exist.
And Judd went on a rant about there's too many graduations.
Yeah.
And I think we all agree on that, don't we? Too many
Reavers is
graduations.
gone today because of a graduation from
Well,
burping class or whatever.
Kindergarten. He said last day of school, but I'm sure they had some ceremony too.
Yeah.
That's right. You know what? I was thinking, who started this? All these graduations. The cake industry? Did they start it? Who did it?
Cards,
Started-
Hallmark. I mean, just congratulations.
But you can't go to. Can you get a middle school? I guess they just say graduation so they can.
Maybe
be
it
at
was the stores that
fifth grade.
sell all the party gear, because they wanted everybody to throw parties for every graduation.
Yeah.
The graduation I was at yesterday was legitimate, and it was in
high school counts.
It was a convention center downtown Minneapolis, and fellas, I wish you could have seen my turnip eating relatives in downtown Minneapolis. It was fantastic. It was the highlight of my year because sure enough, as soon as we near the convention center, we got some guy that's either tripping or drunk or whatever, and he's screaming at the top of his lungs at himself, and the wide-eyed look on my relatives. Meanwhile, my wife and I wouldn't have even noticed him if they hadn't pointed him out.
So they haven't spent a lot of time in Manhattan. Is that what you're saying?
No, but it was a fun graduation.
All right.
There's a new kind of bad teacher. Normally, it's been sex lately. That's the teacher problem.
And
But
it's
this
usually
one,
been the woman. It appears that women teachers are hornier than men teachers. If I'm
that's always good.
What I say.
well, this one does not involve sex. Philadelphia high school teacher has removed a teacher. Philadelphia High School, has removed a teacher from the classroom after she was accused of taking bribes from students in exchange for better grades.
Oh, that's fantastic.
That's how it's supposed to
He
be.
was being entrepreneurial.
Yes.
Amanda Richardson's a human.
Hell, my parents would cut her a check.
Amanda Richardson, a humanities teacher at Link High School, was giving students the higher grades in exchange for undisclosed bribes. The school district said the teacher was promptly removed from the classroom. The Inspector General and Philadelphia police notified of the allegations. Richardson was contacted by the local NBC station, but she refused to comment on any of the claims until
I guess my question is, what were the bribes? Like what exactly.
When I was in liberal arts at the University of Minnesota, because I didn't have any idea what the hell I want to be, I took 2 quarters of humanities, and I still don't know what the hell it was. I still don't know what humanities are. It's literature of some form, right, Johnny?
Yes.
I guess so.
Boy, you got me.
I don't know. I was taking it that's a bad sign when you don't know what it is, and you're taking
You'd think it would be how to work a soup kitchen line or something. Humanities, that's crazy.
I don't get it.
But you know what this means is that somebody snitched. Some kids had a good thing going, and some kids.
Well, it was
snitched.
a kid that couldn't afford to cut the check.
Probably,
That's what
right,
it was.
yeah.
Jealousy. It was jealousy.
She's
innocent. Let her go.
Or it was like a kid that was getting good grades naturally, and they were just jealous because
the other kid, he was getting B's,
Wilson.
and these kids were getting
Jenny
A's.
Wilson.
So this is the show that backs bribery. Do I have that?
Yes,
correct?
that's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's not in all
You
instances.
can get away with it, just not to cops. No cops.
But grades, who cares?
This seems a little petty. A South Dakota sheriff waited 1 minute after polls closed to fire a deputy who undid his reelection bid this week. Bon Homme County Sheriff Lenny Gramkow fired his deputy sheriff Mark Maggs after Maggs defeated him by a vote of 878 to 331 in the Republican primary.
Wow.
Gramkow didn't give a reason for the firing.
I have a guess.
I have a hunch.
South Dakota is a right-to-work state where employees can be fired without cause, and the state sheriffs have the authority to hire and fire personnel. He wouldn't comment on the firing, the sheriff.
That's great.
Meggs planned to meet with the county commission on Thursday. The timestamp on the termination notice, 1 minute after the polls closed.
So but he has to wait till he goes through the formality of winning the election to take over then.
Yeah, I don't know how long before he'll be in, but he will take over at some point. A St. Louis man thinks he may be one of the first victims of an attempted carjacking that involved an electric car.
Who cares?
Well, being an electric car, it prevented...
They're even pompous about this.
I think I might be the first.
Shut up. Go plug in, you moron.
Fortunately, it seems the fact that it was an electric car may have prevented the thieves from getting what they were after. The victim, you'll like this even better, Kenny, who goes by the name Dan the driving man.
Yeah, that's not going to work.
Let's track him down, and I dare him to come in the Krabby Coffee Show.
Hey, it's me, Dan the driving man.
Get out of here. Take you in the back, beat him up.
He said he thought his life was coming to an end. He was recharging his electric vehicle at a station on the 3100 block of South Grand in St. Louis. Dan said he uses that station because it can charge his vehicle quicker than his home charger. Mm-hmm. He said a female... Jesus.
What's he do, sit in a museum for 3 hours twice a day?
Do?
Like every part of the story, don't you, Kenny?
Oh, my God.
He said a female put a gun to his head and another one pointed a gun at him, and then a man came over on his right. He said, I had 3 guns pointed at me. They said, give us your car and your money or we'll shoot you. Dan, who works
I'm thinking.
Your money or your life? I'm thinking.
Dan, who works as a rideshare driver, gave the suspects $40 and his cell phone, but he said they failed to steal the car. He said at first the 3 suspects tried to drive away while the vehicle was still plugged in.
They had no shot at this.
Dan says the car will not leave or go anywhere until it's unplugged. Then the car wouldn't start because Dan kept his key fob on him. Mm-hmm. He said, when I step back, the car won't go without me. He said the woman in the driver's seat...
He is pompous. That's the only reason he contacted the media.
You're probably not smart enough to figure that out there, Roberts.
The woman, he said, jumped into the driver's seat and started panicking because she couldn't find a key. I looked at her. I said, it doesn't have a key. It's a smart car.
Yeah.
Finally, he said the suspects made him drive, but that didn't work either because the car wasn't charged enough. The car died and the suspects fled.
They should have shot him.
Wow. That would be a little severe.
Just in the knee.
Just wounded. I was going to say
just
wound
in the
him.
knee.
Wound him. Yeah, let's not
Give him a permanent limp.
Let's not terminate him.
Terminate. Here's another one, Kenny, alike. A Kansas man who returned a $1 million lottery ticket to a customer who left it on the store counter says he has no regrets about giving up the $1 million.
He had to, John. It wasn't his property.
That's correct.
Oh, you guys are dinks.
Cal Patel, whose parents own the Pit Stop convenience store, returned the ticket to a longtime customer after tracking him down in his car. He said, "Good deeds come back to help you, and bad deeds come back to haunt you. It felt good to find it and then find them."
Good thing I can't reach you, John.
How much is the guy with the mill given to the Good Samaritan?
According to this, let's see. Lawyers this week gave Cal a $1,200 check to reward him for the good
Plus,
deed.
you said his parents own the convenience store,
That's
right?
correct, yes.
So they're probably doing okay, and this is fantastic publicity for their dumb little store.
1,200. I wonder how they arrived at such a curious figure.
It's a weird number.
You got to give him $50,000, don't you? Almighty.
$5,000 maybe. All right, just a minute.